Welcome to episode 1 of Travel Rewind, a series where we explore how the places we visit and the places we call home shape our identity and our worldview. My name is Paula, and I'm an intuitive personal growth coach. And on my page, I talk about media, spirituality, personal growth, and travel. So if any of those things are of interest to you, you should definitely follow and stick around because we have a fun time over here. And in this first episode, I wanted to talk about my hometown, New York, particularly because I was just there a few weeks ago, but also just in general because I think there are so many ways that growing up in New York really fundamentally shaped who I am as a person. And so I wanted to start the series kind of with that foundation in mind. So yeah, I was born and raised in New York, and I lived in New York up until college. And then I moved back to New York, and then I lived in New York until about 5 years ago when I moved to California. And overall, growing up in New York as a sensitive girly was a little overstimulating at times and a little overwhelming, especially as someone who didn't know how to handle my big feelings or set energetic boundaries with the many people I was interacting with on a daily basis. But I think going back as an adult and having those tools, I was really able to appreciate all of the things that New York really nurtured in me growing up, particularly having a sense of curiosity, optimism, and whimsy. So in terms of curiosity, I was a very curious kid, and the best part about being in New York is there was always something to ask a question about, and there was always a way to get an answer. So whether that was going to a museum, going to a library, or just being in school, I was able to really have my love of learning and my curiosity fed really consistently. And I think that's something that I really appreciate that the city supported in me, particularly in terms of learning about other cultures, because I was just surrounded by people from so many different backgrounds, and that was really cool and exciting as a kid, and still as an adult. And then in terms of a sense of optimism, I think New York gave me a sense of optimism, not from the perspective of being really bubbly and overly positive every day, but from the perspective of having a deep knowing that anything can change at any moment. Whether that's you go on the subway and you run into a Broadway actor that you weren't expecting to see that's going to work, or you go to a CD signing expecting to meet one person and then ends up being Lin-Manuel Miranda, which are both things that have happened to me. You just never really know what's going to happen. And so I think it gave me a sense of not being deterred by my circumstances and knowing that anything can change the next day. And then in terms of whimsy, growing up somewhere that is so romanticized in the media kind of fed the initial romanticization I had of the city growing up, where I just felt like my neighborhood was the most magical place on earth and I had everything that I needed and I was so grateful for everyone around me. And so going back recently, I felt that same feeling again, where I was just so grateful for all the little things that make New York special, that make the people special, that make it a just very serious place. And so I think that's something that I carry with me to this day and is a big part of why I am the whimsical Black girl that I am. But yeah, I'm very grateful to have grown up in a city of immigrants because it really taught me to appreciate all forms and shapes of humanity rather than fear it and fear difference. And I think that is something that is really important right now with everything that we are navigating as a society. So very grateful to be a New Yorker. So yeah, that wraps up episode 1. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know where you're from and how that has shaped your perspective. And make sure you follow so you can check out episode 2.